Dr. Seuss second part, If I Ran the Zoo by Dr. Seuss. I'll capture one tiny. I'll capture one cute. I'll capture a deer that no hunter will shoot. A deer that's so nice he could sleep in your bed if it weren't for those horns that he has on his head. City Zoo GM Guru Manager. And speaking of horns that are just a bit queer, I'll bring back a very old family of deer, a father, a mother, two sisters, a brother, whose horns are connected from one to the other, whose horns are so mixed they can't tell them apart, can't tell where they end, and can't tell where they start. Each deer's a mighty puzzle he's never yet found. If his horns are hers, or the other way around, I'll capture them fat, and I'll capture them scrawny. I'll capture a scragglefoot mulligatawny, a high-stepping animal fast as the wind. Flown the blistering sands of the desert of Zin, this beast is the best that the brave chieftain ride when they want to go fast to find some place to hide. A mulligatawny is fine for my shoe, and so is a chieftain. I'll bring one back too. And this is the beast called mulligatawny. In the far western part of southeast North Dakota lives a very fine animal called the iota, but I'll capture one who is even most finer in the northeastern west part of South Carolina. When people see him, they will say, "Now by thunder, this new zoo, McGrew Zoo, is really a wonder." Most beasts are quite friendly, but still in some lands, some beasts are too dangerous to catch with bare hands. For those that are ugly and vicious and mean, they'll build a bad animal catching machine. It is rather expensive to build such a kit, but with it a hunter can never get beat. A zoo should have bags, so I'll capture a squirrel, whose legs are snarled up in a terrible snarl. And then I'll go out and I'll capture some chugs, some king shooters, mean shooters, bean shooters bags. I'll go to the African island of Jarka and bring back a thistle tappet tufte mazurka, a kind of canary with quite a tall throat. His neck is so long. If he swallows an oat for breakfast the first day of April, they say it has to go down such a very long way that it gets to his stomach the 15th of May. That is a canary. That's called a tufte mazurka. I'll bag a big bag who is very surprising, a feller who has a propeller for rising and zooming around, making cross-country hops from Texas to Boston with only 2 stops. Now, the sort of thing for a bag is just tops. And when I've caught him, then the next thing you know, I'll go and I'll capture a wild tic-tac-toe with X's that win and with zeros that lose. He'll look Mighty God in the Sioux of McGrew. I'll bring back a gusset, a gherkin, a gasket, and also a gooch from the wilds of Nantasket. And 8 Persian princes will carry the basket, but what their names are, I don't know, so don't ask it. In a cave in a cartoon like lives a beast called the Nutch that no other hunters been able to catch. He is hidden for years in his cave with a pout, and no one's been able to make him come out. But I'll coax him out with a wonderful meal that's cooked by my cooks in my cooker mobile. They'll fix up a dish that is just to this taste. 3 chicken croquettes made of library paste. Then sprinkled with peanut shucks, pickled and spiced, then baked at 600 degrees and then iced. It's mighty hard cooking to cook up such feasts, but that's how the new Sioux Macru Sioux gets beasts. I'll go to the faraway mountains of Tobsk, near the river of Novsk, and I'll bring back an obsk, a sort of a kind of a thing, a mabobsk, who only eats rhubarb and corn on the Kobsk. Then people will flock to my shoe in a Movsk. Magru, they will say, does a wonderful jobsk. He hunts with such vim and he hunts with such vigor. His new shoe, Magruj shoe, gets bigger and bigger. And this is the Obsk. And speaking of birds, there is the Russian Palusky, whose headsky is redsky and belly a bluesky. You'll get one of them for my Suski Magruski. Then the whole town will gasp. Why this boy never sleeps? No keeper before ever kept what bee keeps. There is no telling what the young fellow will do, and then just to show them, I'll sail to cut through and bring back an it kutch, a prip, and a prue, a snarkle, a nerd, and a seersucker too. I'll hunt in the jungles of hippo no hongus and bring back a flock of wild bipo no bongos. The bipo no bongos from hippo no hongers are better than those down in Dipo no dongers and smarter than those out in Nipo no nungas, and that's why I'll catch them in hippo no hongers instead of those others in nungas and dungas. And people will say when they see these beeps bounding, these zookeeper, new keepers simply outstanding. He travels so far that you would think he will drop. When do you suppose this young fellow will stop? Stop. Well, I should, but I won't stop until I've captured the Wisama deal, the world's biggest bird from the island of Wark, who only eats pine trees and spits out the bark. And boy, when I get him back home to my park, the whole world will say young McGrews made his mark. He's built a zoo better than Noah's whole ark. This wonderful, marvelous beast that he chooses have made him the greatest of all the McGrewses. Wow! They all cheered. What this zoo must be worth. It's the gold darnest zoo on the face of the earth. Yes, that's what I do, said young Gerald McCrew. I'd make a few changes if I ran the zoo.